pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Greetings. We shall have roll call, please, Carolina.
Councilmember Dolan,
Yes.
Selby,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Coliston,
Yes.
Mayo.
Yes. Well, once again, welcome. We shall start our meeting tonight once again with Mayor Waller's quote for the day. This particular quote comes from Mr. Winston Churchill. Most of you know and probably have heard of Winston Churchill. He was a British statesman, soldier, writer, and twice Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He gained his fame as a war correspondent. He offers us a little political humor today. I think we could probably all use a little humor in our lives. Quote goes like this: "You'll never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks." Okay, we shall move on to our approval of tonight's agenda. If there are any additions or corrections from members of the council, I would entertain those now. If none, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to approve the agenda as is.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Citizens' comments. It didn't appear that anybody requested to approach the council, so I guess we will move on. We have no public hearings tonight, so we'll go on to our reading and approval of our regular meeting minutes from March 10th, 2026.
I will move approval of the regular minutes from our March 10 meeting. I'll second.
Thank you. Motion and a second to approve our March 10th, 2026 regular meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And next before us is our consent agenda of those same minutes from March 10th, 2026. Not consent agenda, I'm sorry, condensed version of the minutes from March 10th, 2026.
I will move approval of the condensed version of the meeting from March 10, 2026.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the condensed version of our March 10th, 2026 minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We have before us now our consent agenda, which tonight consists of the audit of city bills, our Morris Public Library Board meeting minutes from March 11th, 2026, and the City of Morris Tree Board minutes from February 18th, 2026. And I'll move approval of the items on the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the items on the consent agenda. I'll bring it back to the city council for any discussion.
Line item 21, we got the tree service there for 30,500. Is that for stuff we're going to do or have already done?
That's stuff that we've been doing.
That's
So
the
they've
stuff.
been doing tree cutting as part of that grant.
Trimming.
Trimming.
Trimming, yeah. Don't get
Well,
too happy with your saw there. We've just been trimming them. We're not eliminating them.
I see.
Is that
Lower
the full
East Side.
grant amount then? Like, does that cover, is that the full grant, do you know?
I
No.
couldn't tell you if
Part-
it,
But that, what that is,
I
that's
think
the grant.
wasn't it like 88,000?
I know they're over at East Side Park. I saw them over there. They trimmed up a bunch of trees there.
Okay.
But I do think it included other parts like that trailer, some other things were in that relief
Oh, sure.
that were included on that they were working on purchasing.
Oh, the trailer, the tank,
The
and watering
trailer,
equipment, and
yeah.
that was all, yeah, okay, that was part of
It's
the
all part of a
88,000
group,
then or
but
something.
yeah, some of the, reading through the tree minutes, said
Okay.
there was a trailer and.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the trailer.
Perfect.
Okay. Would there be any other discussion, on any of the other items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. I'll just ask for a voice vote of approval on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. We shall move on to petitions, requests, and communications. The first item is a fire department donation.
I will move approval of accepting a donation from Central Specialties to the Morse Fire Department in the amount of $100.
I'll second.
Thank you. Yeah, once again, thank you to them for that donation. We have a motion and a second to approve a $100 donation from Central Specialties to the fire department. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Was there anything special or anything for that donation that anyone knows of? I mean, we had some donations, fire department, for a fire member that had passed. I'm just curious if they just generous to do something for our local fire department, hopefully.
And Whitney's
All right.
not here, so I don't know if they,
All right.
I don't know if they earmarked it for anything or not, but normally if
It
they do,
didn't sound
they
like it, so.
they specify if they, I mean, sometimes they specify, sometimes they don't, but I don't know.
Very good.
Okay, next before us is a consumption and display permit. This is for Bumper Sports Simulator and Entertainment. That's just a renewal request.
I'll move approval of the consumption and display permit request.
I will second that and just double check, make sure that binding insurance is in place for that before it is issued.
Yeah, this is a renewal, so I would assume, well, I suppose you can't assume that they would have,
Right.
they've already have their insurance, but it's a good thought, Jeff, you know.
Well, it's just
double
always
check.
been to renew your,
Double check,
your
yeah.
license, you have to have binding
Yep.
insurance to cover, so if there is anything.
Yeah, it's good to check. All right, we have a motion and a second. Would be any other discussion on that? Consumption permit. Hearing none, I'll just ask for a voice vote on that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same side. Motion carries. And then we have, the last item on our consent agenda is a liquor license transfer. And this is, the following liquor license transfer is for the remainder of 2026, for the Hudson Inn, doing business as, well, PSM 100 Morse Hospitality, Inc., I guess. So they're transferring the license then? Is that what that means?
Yes, Hudson Inn got sold.
Okay,
So this is the new company that's coming in. They're still gonna do business as the Hudson Inn.
okay.
I think they're here already.
I think they're here already,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, I was talking to Cheryl Kuhn about something else today, and she's talked with them. They wanna try to keep it like it is and maintain it and all that. And I think one of the owners is actually gonna be living in the inn while they're getting everything up and running and doing all their stuff, so.
I'd just like to give a shout out to Dan out there, Dan Hudson. I think when he bought that property, it was, well, distressed, I would say it would be a safe word. And, you know, had it not been for somebody like Dan with all his expertise to come in and buy it and do the things and upgrades that he had done, I don't know where that building would be at today. So I just wanted to recognize him for all his hard work out there. And he'll be on to his next venture. You know, Dan's been very transparent about his position on that place when he bought it. He That's what he does. He buys places, fixes them up, and sells them. So kudos to him.
It's come a long ways.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
Long
it was
ways.
in tough shape out there, and yes, it looks very good, and to hear a lot of positive reports from it, from people that come in to the community for different events out there, meals, bar, receptions.
Well, the easiest way to know how it's doing is, I think the Grand Stays lodging tax is, for the last quarter was about $12,000. The Hudson Inn was like $7,500. So they're renting rooms. They're doing a good job.
Well, with that, I will move approval of that liquor license transfer.
I'll second.
And they're again, making sure binding insurance in place
Yep.
before.
When they apply, I would assume that's part of the application process, isn't it, Blaine? That they have to verify, provide insurance?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Well, and just, yeah, so this is, so you're approving this, but then it has to go to the state of Minnesota.
Okay,
And the
gotcha.
state of Minnesota verifies all that stuff too.
Okay,
So,
okay. Okay, would there be any further discussion on that? Hearing none, we have a motion and a second. I'll just ask for a voice vote on that liquor license transfer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We have one resolution before us tonight. This is, next up is our ordinances and resolutions. A resolution authorizing an execution of a limited use permit number 7502-0012 with MnDOT for flowered pots on Main Street. And I'll maybe just have Blaine touch on that.
it's always interesting. Well, when, the chamber first came to me and talked to me about this, it's like, is it okay if we put flower pots on Main Street? And it's like, I don't care, it's a MnDOT highway, you know, and so you're gonna have to deal with MnDOT. Well, we already talked to them and they said that we have to deal with you, which is what they do, cause they don't deal with, private businesses and organizations and stuff. And so then, actually, I was working on another issue with MnDOT, and I asked about the possibility of doing that, and they said, yeah, we just have to know where you want them, and then they have to be approved by our ADA people, because the sidewalks are ADA compliant. You wouldn't know that going in the downtown area, but they are all leveled and angled at the right angles. There's a strip that goes from end to end. And so then, between our engineers and myself, we got the locations to them. There's gonna be 2 on each block, on the blocks that are between 5th Street and A Street. And they approved them, but they said you have to fill out this, permit application. And then the last thing they had was a resolution from the council authorizing it. Otherwise, we probably would have had this done already. So that's the way they do business. And like I said in the memo, you know, when the Welcome to Morris signs were donated, we had to get permits for each one of those locations from MnDOT to be able to put them there. And it's a 10-year permit, so after 10 years, they'll come back and ask us to renew it. But, yeah, and then we have nothing to do with it. Sounds like, I don't know if anybody's been to a chamber meeting, but it sounds like they raised all the money for the flower pots already, and they're gonna be nice flower pots, and they'll be taken care of and everything, so.
So this is a 10-year contract?
This is a 10-year permit.
Permit?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So 2036, they'll come back and have us renew it. And that's the same thing that happened with our sign permits, because when I got the first one of those, it's like, we already have permits. It's like, no, you had 10-year permits, so it's been 10 years since those signs went up.
Gosh, it
Wow.
doesn't seem possible.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but
Just seems
those
like-
Welcome to Morris signs.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a nice beautification thing for the downtown.
I think look really nice down there, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on that resolution authorizing the execution of limited use permit number 7502-0012 with MnDOT for flowered pots on Main Street.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second, and I just wanted to add, we had some discussion on this. I'm, of course, sitting on the chamber board, and we talked about the watering and so forth of them, and it sounds like they're self-watering. I didn't know they had such a thing, but that's, because that was a concern, you know, who's gonna maintain them, take care of them, and supposedly they're self-watering to, whatever that means, to a certain
Rain.
extent, I guess.
Rain.
Right.
So it captures it, and then, I don't know. Anyway, all right, well, thank you. We have a motion and a second approving the resolution authorizing execution of limited use permit number 7502-0012 with MnDOT for flower pots on Main Street. I'll just ask for a roll call vote on that resolution. Carolina?
Councilmember Solly,
Yes.
Dolan,
Yes.
Collison,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Waller.
Yes. Okay, we have, I think, all we have now is our acting city manager's newsletter. That'll be next.
My last one.
Yeah.
This time.
This time around, no. There will not be another.
Never say
Oh,
never.
boy.
As I said, actually, there's, the closer I get to being done, the more stuff is coming up that, you know, we need to take care of. But, as I said in here, you know, it was nice to be back. We have a very good city council. We have a very good staff, and all the support people that we have, and Morris is doing very well. We have a lot of things going on now in Morris. It's just every time you turn around, I just talked to a guy on Saturday that wants to open a barber shop in Morris, and little things like that pop up all the time. But the one thing that's different this time around is, and I said this to you when you're interviewing candidates, I'm not gonna go away. So one of the things that I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna hang on to my city computer for a little while and my email from the city, and that way I can correspond with Zoe on the things that pop up that are still, it's amazing. I still get stuff that has Rebecca's name on it, you know, from places that are looking for things like the FAA and contracts and stuff like that. And at the same time, there's one of the things I'm doing is I'm putting together kind of a package for Zoe, and we've been corresponding back and forth on a few things already, where I can kind of help her understand the things that we're working on, because there's so many things that we're doing. Just had a meeting today with talking a little bit more about the airport arrival departure building and stuff like that. So that's my pledge to you, is that I'm gonna do whatever I have to, and I'll be around, and if she has a question, all she has to do is email me, text me, I'll stop in and visit with her, and you might see me at a few city council meetings, just to kind of stay in touch with you that way too. So it's been fun being back, but at the same time, I got a bunch of little grandkids that need me. So I'll get back to doing more of that. I'm actually going to touch on a couple of these things that are in here just because they're important. We have a group of Germans, like I said. Professor Vedder's coming next Tuesday with some people, and there was a problem with some of the German officials, just so you know, getting visas to come into the United States with the administration we have in Washington right now. So they chose not to come, so hopefully they get that all figured out, how they're gonna do that. These are people that we've worked with before. But Tuesday night's gonna be a really nice event where a lot of people are gonna get a chance to get together and talk about the things that we've been working on, stuff like that. We had wind damage at the liquor store. So I always ask the question, how do you lay shingles in the wintertime? Because they're supposed to get heated up and seal, and well, apparently they didn't. So then that'll get all taken care of as part of the project, you know. So we'll get everything done on that building, and we're still looking at opening that in June. So that should be good. The appraisal for that building will be done in April now. And then there's already been probably a half a dozen people calling about that building, wondering how we're gonna sell it. And I'll talk to Zoe a little bit about my thoughts on that. Because it is a public building, so you can't just make a deal with somebody. It's gotta be made available to everybody. And we have to have a process in place to be able to do that. Lead pipe service lines, we applied, not for the grants, but we put our name in for the ability to get grants to come in and replace these lead service lines, and the grant pays for everything. And interestingly enough, in Morris, the property owner is responsible for the service line from the house to the main line, including the shut-off valves for water. And that makes a difference in these grants, because whatever the city's responsible for, the city would have to pay. Whatever the homeowners are responsible for, the grant will cover. So we'll be covered all the way up to the main line, the way it sounds. And the way it sounds is they're trying to spread the money around in Minnesota. So there was survey work that was done to find out where lead lines are to the. Sorta. So, you know, but that's gonna be an ongoing thing. That's gonna have to be looked at in the future. Cause they have some deadlines, but they're gonna have to expand those deadlines, cause you're not gonna get all that work done in the deadlines that they have.
How many lines do we have? Do you have any idea?
I don't have the number, but there's 3 different areas that, if you look at the map, 3 different, like our neighborhood was redone, so our neighborhood's PVC, sewer and water. But basically you can look on a map and see where there's old sewer lines, and that's probably where you have lead lines and water lines and stuff like that. But I don't have that number.
Okay.
Basically, the engineers looked at the 3 areas that had the most and then put them in there, and I can get that information for you if you want. Hired a tourism coordinator, and actually I talked to Cheryl Kuhn before I came here because she got a chance to talk to the gal already, because she's already started trying to coordinate some stuff, which is good. But it's kind of interesting. Her husband is going to be the new radio station operations manager, which is good for everybody to have somebody in that building. And so I actually, when we brought her in to interview her, and then I made her bring her husband in so I could talk to him to tell him what some of my thoughts were on the radio station. You know, if he got the job, and it sounds like he got the job, and then she needed a job. So she'll be starting on the 30th, the next tourism board meeting. She'll be there for that. And this will be the person that'll coordinate between all the different events and stuff like that, coordinate with Click Content Studio. She had some really good ideas about places to reach out, to talk to people about maybe bringing groups in, like the Audubon Society and bird watching. And, you know, when they came here to look at the area, they were really, really glad that the area is the way it is because all the things that are here.
That's actually such good timing, as, you know, with Zoe starting.
Right.
And it takes that off her plate.
Right.
And it just, then it'll keep that tourism board moving forward versus another stop, because we have, you know.
Right.
So,
Yep.
super.
So I think that'll work out really good. And then tourism funding, actually, we have to have a little discussion about that. So I did send some information out to the tourism board. And actually, it was, we had a grant, Explore Minnesota grant, to help provide some resources to the Prairie Harvest Fest. And in the end, we had to terminate that grant because we didn't follow the rules on what should be on the advertisements and things like that. If it's in a newspaper, they're always, anytime they're funding something, they have to be recognized on the grants to, you know. And we've run into that problem before with like the parks, where some of the park stuff was funded. Well, if you go over to Eastside Park, you'll see a sign that there's funding that was provided by the state of Minnesota. They require that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they provided some information from the Minnesota Tourism Conference that took place, and they had a breakout session on the use of lodging tax money. And it cannot be used for anything other than marketing. We can't use it for fireworks And that was specifically something that they talked about, you know, in their presentation. And so we're gonna have a little discussion about, I have some ideas on how we can still fund maybe the Prairie Harvest Fest. A couple of those things, we can still make that part of a community event, but we'd probably have to use some general fund dollars to provide some support to them. But otherwise, it's marketing. That's all you can use it for, and there's a really good discussion in there. So I provided that information to the tourism board. They can look at the video, they can look at what the rules are and all that moving forward. And we just don't want, the interesting part is, we don't want to get caught in an audit spending money that a way we're not supposed to be spending it. But more importantly, for the tourism people, they don't want communities doing something that's going to jeopardize their ability to continue to use that state law that allows them to use lodging tax dollars for things. And that was very important to them. And most of the people on the panel, I think, had a connection between the chamber and tourism. So it was good discussion, but that just came up literally because I had to try to get this grant off the table because we couldn't claim reimbursement for it. Towed about 25 cars during the last snow alert. A few people weren't happy, but at the same time, like I said before, 25 cars out of how many in Morris? So it's a very small number of people that didn't get it. And then
that alert went on in plenty of time.
Yeah.
I mean, that was already Friday. I mean, there's a long time.
Oh, yeah,
notice
well, and
for that.
I think the interesting part is there's still some people can't find a place to put their car, you know, and it's like,
Doesn't the university normally open up a lot? that you
yeah,
can
well, we
park out
talked about
there,
that
or
before,
the
that
city? I mean,
you could go out to that lot by Big Cat, they would allow you to go in there and stuff, but,
I guess it's just something that we can work on
Yep.
by next fall, to find a spot, hopefully in the community besides that, and hopefully more central into town, but just things to try to get them off the streets so we can clear the streets. I mean, it's not our goal to issue tickets. We want to get the streets clear is our main goal. And to let people realize that.
and then there's a couple projects, they're finalizing the state's reviewing the plans for the Highway 9 sidewalk and the bike walk path reconditioning. When those plans are approved by the state, then we'll be coming back to you to authorize going out to bids on those projects. Those are state grant funded projects, and there's a little bit of money on the sidewalk project that the city's got to put in. The bike walk trail reconditioning, there's gonna be a local contribution come in to pay the local share of that. So I'll make sure that we stay on top of that. Fresha, MnDOT wouldn't let us do the sewer line the way we planned on doing it. So what's gonna happen now is they're putting together a plan to put in a lift station at Fresha with a force main. And one of the things we said is we will not own that. You can give us the force main because it's in the right of way, and MnDOT won't let anybody else have that line in their right of way except the city. It's kind of the same thing with flower pots on the sidewalk. But so what's gonna happen is the lift station is gonna be owned by them. It's gonna be maintained probably by us through an agreement. And actually, we have one right now with Hodges Township because the golf course edition has a lift station that we maintain, and then they pay us to do that because it's not ours, it's theirs, you know, for the houses that are out there. So that just came up within the last 2 weeks that MnDOT they didn't like us, it's too shallow for gravity-fed line, and the plan was to cover it with a berm, and they said, nope, you're not gonna, we won't allow you to do that. Not much more you can do it. Two other quick things that I didn't put in here. One of them is, as of, I think it's April 2nd, our new ordinances go into place. And I was over taking pictures, that was the second thing, so we're gonna get appraisals done on the two projects that we have for special assessments. One is Fifth Street, Fourth Street, Third Street, the other one's Lindale Avenue, Sunset Place, and then over to Albany. So I was out taking pictures of all those, because you take pictures of everything, send it to the appraiser, and then they'll give us an appraisal on the value of your improvements that you do when you put in new water and sewer and curbs and gutters and all that kind of stuff. But I did stop over to the house on 11th Street. That is just an absolute mess, and lo and behold, somebody was there. It was not the owner, it was the girlfriend, I think. And so I don't know if he has a house, the way it sounded, because I think he lost his property over by Chicago. But anyway, I kind of gave her a verbal notice that there's going to be a letter coming out with the new rules that we put into place on how we're going to deal with that. Because it's like, yeah, we're trying to get all this stuff out of here, and it's like, you could do that for a year, you'll never get it out of there. But all the vehicles that are sitting there that are not current, all that stuff. So I'll make sure that we get that letter out, you know, because then, you know, give, I think it was it 10 days that was in the new nuisance ordinance on these?
Something like that.
Something like that. So we'll do the new letter, and then we have the new procedure that went into place that we'll follow through on that and get that taken care of. So hopefully within the next, you know, month or whatever, depends on how long it takes to get that process weighed in on. But
The potential street projects on, you said Third, Fourth, and Fifth, or
Yeah.
where they're at, that's Columbia to College, correct? It's not-
Columbia to College, yep.
So just not to get people
Right.
excited that they're gonna be getting their streets all worked on,
Yeah.
but it's from College back to Columbia
To
Avenue.
Columbia, yep.
Okay,
Well, and the irony is, we did reclaims on those roads to try to make the road surface better. And those roads still look fairly decent, but it's the underground stuff that's really bad. And actually, I talked to 3 of the property owners. One of them lives in the old Martin House. People that grew up here know the Martin House on the corner. But they had their sewer replaced and went out to the corner to get it connected up. So theirs is pretty much done, but yeah, the rest of it's gotta be done. And so then the plan is that we'll get the appraisals done, and then we'll try to figure out what the assessments are gonna be, and then there'll be a assessment hearing later this summer, early fall. Bring in everybody that's affected by that one, and then we'll turn around and have hopefully final plans and specs by December and bid it out in January and get the work done next year. And then the other one on the other side of town, it's gonna be a little bit trickier because there's some wide open space. You have a lot less houses along there that are gonna be affected by the water and sewer projects. So,
On that Fifth Street there, the scope of work was sidewalks part of that? I'm trying to remember. We talked about having sidewalks on the north side where the new apartments are being built.
yeah,
I thought that was
I
part of
think
it.
that's what the discussion was, and that's something that you can, you know, when the time comes, you can figure out what do you wanna do, you know, cause actually one of the property owners that I talked to said, you know, it'd be nice if they had sidewalks for all these people.
Right.
Cause then they don't walk across our sidewalks, and like on the corner, they cut across her yard. Well, guess what? They're gonna go wherever they wanna go. You can build a sidewalk, but they'll probably come across and go to the next sidewalk, and then they'll probably keep cutting across the corner, even though they shouldn't be. The university, if you look at the College Avenue sidewalk, it goes all the way down to 4th Street, and then it turns and it comes down into the college. But they had to put a walk path in right around the fence, because as soon as they get to the fence on the cemetery, they turn and go straight down to the college. You know, and that's the nature of how people are. And, you know, if it's my property, I might have put up a sign. I don't know how you regulate that, but you know, if you're gonna do a sidewalk, then, you know, there's gonna be 3 apartment buildings that maybe would be affected by a sidewalk, as landowners. And they might be better suited to pay for a sidewalk than the property owners on the other side.
Right.
But, and then some of the sidewalks good, some of the sidewalks bad along these roads. There's no sidewalk on the one side on Third Street going down, but, you know, in the past, we've always talked about having at least one sidewalk on a road. You know, maybe not on both sides, but at least one side. Actually, on Third Street, there is a sidewalk in front of one house, then it stops, and it doesn't go anywhere, so I don't know if people took a sidewalk out. My guess is that's what happened. People took sidewalks out, you know, we've had that happen before.
I know in the current, apartment building that's being built, it was in the discussion, trees and sidewalks.
I think
When
so.
they came and met with us, and I think he'd even mentioned possibly,
Yep.
if it was allowable for them to do a blacktop sidewalk, that they could have a wider sidewalk for less money, but just that was in the discussion when we were talking with them on it,
I just
so.
wanted to be clear on that. I
Yeah,
thought that
so I
was
think,
part of it.
yeah, that has to be part of the discussion,
All right,
what you're gonna do with it, you know. The hardest thing is gonna be able to get assessments down, to where they're affordable by property owners, because things are so expensive right now, and when you only have half the road with houses, so there's gonna be one sewer connection, and that's gonna be the new, county building if they build one, cause the other sewer connection is to Columbia Avenue, the big buildings to College Avenue. So on the one side of the road, you're gonna have one sewer connection, and the other side's gonna be all the houses, you know, and actually one less, cause they already connected up to College. And that's where you struggle trying to get enough properties to help split the cost of that.
But that one unit doesn't go by one, it goes by housing units for an apartment building, correct?
Right,
So it's.
Yeah, it's one plus.
It's not a one, it's a formula
it's a
to figure
formula
out for an
that, yes.
apartment building, so.
Yep. And that's it. There's lots of other stuff we're working on, but, as things pop up too, then I'll be talking with Zoe. The other thing I would tell you is that I'll be done as of, the end of the month, and, Zoe will start on April 1st. And, no matter what time I put in, I do not expect to get paid for it. So that is my contribution to the community. And that's just the way it'll be, because we gotta pay for her, so you spend your money on her, make sure she's happy.
well, thank you for that. You know, and once again, thank you for all your help over the last 6 months, and, you know, we all want Zoe to succeed, and I think I can speak for the rest of the council, helping make this transition with your help, that's much appreciated. Okay, we shall move on to our board updates. If anybody has anything that they would like to share with the council, now would be a good time.
Was no planning commission meeting this month, they're
Okay,
waiting till next month, so.
I guess I can share a little bit on I sit on the chamber board, and Sarah's working really hard at booking entertainment for the music in the park events. They're planning 3 again this year, so it sounds like we're all booked out for that, and that'll be something to look forward to. I guess really beyond that, that's about all I have.
Tree Board has their tree giveaway coming up in the middle of May at the city garage, and then the community planning on May 20th, and that's gonna be at Genstead Park.
Oh,
With a rain date of, I think, a week later, I think it was the
Yep.
27th.
Yep.
And it's 100 trees, first come, first served at the city shop.
Yep.
I think on the tree giveaway.
Yep.
good. Plant a few trees. All right, well, I guess we can move on if there's nothing else, to our other business, and just a reminder, our board of review is on April 6th, and that will be 2026, of course, at 5:15, I believe, right, Blaine? 5:15?
Yes.
Yeah,
And I think all the statements went out. I got mine,
yeah, I got
my
mine.
valuation statement in the mail. So they should be,
Good to go.
What date is the 6th fall on?
It's a Monday.
Monday, okay.
All right. Would there be anything else to come before the council? Hearing none, meeting adjourned.
Thanks, Blaine.
Yes,
Appreciate the help.
Yes. I'll be watching you guys.
Time flies.
thank you very much.
Yes.
Enjoy retirement again.